We will call the meeting of the Governing Board of the Lambertville Unified School District to order at 7:00 p.m. Please note, this meeting is being recorded. At this time, please take a moment to silence and turn off your cell phones. For those of you here who would like to address the board about a specific agenda item or during public comments, please fill out a blue comment card so we know when to call upon you. I believe we have students from Costa Elementary School here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Olson, trustees, and Dr. Nicholas, and thank you a lot for that. Great job with the flag salute. I'm excited to be here to tell you about how we kind of ended our first year at Costa and the things that we have going for this year. Year one went very well, I think, and year two started off great as well. So we're still building our tradition, culture, and community at Costa with family events, getting to know our staff, and bringing families to campus. Continuing from 23-24, we still have our social emotional learning in place with character strong and purposeful people. We used the restorative practices specialist quite a bit last year just for mediating conversations with students, running some small little groups, so we appreciate having them on campus. We also have our PBIS in place at Leopards Rise. We respect, we have integrity, we are safe, and we are empathetic. And so that has taken to another level this year with our Costa Cash and our Rise tickets. This year we still have our artists in school from San Joaquin County Office of Education. An artist comes and spends 4 weeks with a class creating art projects and learning about specific artists. We still have our PLTW Gateway electives that feed into the high school programs. We've added fine arts electives, drama and art. We still have our National Junior Honor Society. We're growing our ASB, and I'm happy to announce that we will have a HOSA team this year. We also have Lucky the Leopard. The costume was donated by our first 8th grade class, that they also named him Lucky. Along with our school culture and community, we had our back to school bash, which was new this year. So we had invited all families and students to the campus the first Friday that we had school, so that they could get kind of an idea of where everything was, meet some of their staff, bounce in jumpy houses, and have fun and just kind of build that community, get to know each other. Last year, at the end of the year, we started our Costa coffee breaks, and we invite parents just to come and meet with our vice principal and I and just have coffee and donuts and chat. We had our trunk or treat last year, and we're going to do that again this year with help from our PTA. So we have an official PTA, and they're helping quite a bit. So mostly, since we haven't done a whole lot in the first month of school, I wanted to just share with you our back to school first day pictures and our back to school bash.
Corinne asked me how to set this up, and so I gave her good technological advice. So we'll, I'll go back and do another tutorial.
It was really fun, and it was really cute. So if we don't get to see it, it's okay. I wasn't able to put the video of our 6th grade teacher doing a backflip in the Jumpy because that wouldn't load. So unfortunately, we won't see that. But she was very excited that she could still pull it off.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh, that's,
So even if we don't get to watch the video, you can know that that happened.
yep.
No, not working. Okay, I can send it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about last year or this year coming up?
Any questions from the board? Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the
Yeah.
presentation and update. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3, roll call.
Lisa Boulay,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Benita Daniel,
Here.
Stephanie Olson,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Devika Vitolani.
Here.
Item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item 5, committee reports. Item A, District Advisory Committee, trustee Boulay.
We have nothing to report.
Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee, trustee Boulay.
Thank you. On August 22nd, the District English Learner Advisory Committee met, and Director Faubert led that meeting. He talked about the identification of English learners, how English learners are reclassified. He reviewed the EL curriculum and talked about designated and integrated supports. He talked about funding for the program, and he talked about the local control accountability plan and how those LCAP dollars are used for our EL students. And then new this year, generally this is the time of year, our next meeting would be the reclassification celebration. And new this year, those reclassification celebrations are going to be moved to individual school sites. And that's bittersweet. I love that ceremony, so I will miss it. But the good news is that we are getting so big and we have so many students that are reclassifying that it just got too big for one facility. So it's going to happen at all the individual sites. The next meeting for the DLAC committee will be on October 24th at 6:30 in the district office boardroom. And that's all I have for DLAC.
Thank you, trustee Boulay. Item C, Education Committee, trustee Pombo.
Yes, the next Education Committee meeting will be held October 17th at 6:30 in the Professional Development Center.
Thank you. Item D, Facilities Committee. The next Facilities Committee meeting will be on September 19th at 6:30 PM here in the district office boardroom. Item E, Policy Committee, trustee Daniel.
Nothing to report.
Item F, Safety Committee, trustee Pombo.
Yes, the next meeting of the Safety Committee will be held on September 11th at 3:45 in the Professional Development Center.
And item G, Wellness Committee. The next Wellness Committee meeting will be held on October 2nd at 3:45 PM here in the district office boardroom. Moving on to item 6, Governing Board Reports. Student trustee Vitolani.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a really fantastic and restful Labor Day weekend. So to start off my updates, I would like to begin with ASB. So homecoming week is coming up on the 28th of this month, and all of the class officers have been working tirelessly to make this year's homecoming once again unforgettable. For club updates, we had Club Rush yesterday and today, and we have over 107 clubs at the high school this year, so it was an amazing opportunity for all the clubs to come out and display all of the new and fun activities they have for the year. Speech and Debate is having their first YFL tournament next weekend to kick off the season. And also during lunch today, we had the Career and Technical Student Organization Fair for all students in Pathways to sign up for either HOSA, DECA, or Skills USA. For middle school updates, currently most of the middle schools are holding their ASB elections, so I'm waiting for the ASB presidents. And that concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Daniel.
Thank you, President. On August 23rd, I attended the 20th year anniversary party for Wickland Elementary. It was really an honor to be able to be part of that event. And it was organized by Wickland School Foundation, so kudos to all the volunteers and the members of WSF for hosting and organizing such a memorable event. And congratulations to the Wildcats on their 20th anniversary. I also would like to mention that our trustee Boulay gave a very fantastic speech. And also, I enjoyed the story where trustee Boulay portrayed a day at Wickland. So great job, trustee Boulay.
Thank you.
Then today, on September 4th, I attended the Mustangs volleyball match, Mustangs ladies volleyball match, and it was a fantastic match. I was like I was just unable to, like, it was as if I was playing there, and I was like, yeah, here and there. So it was just wonderful to watch, and they did an amazing job. And I was not able to stay there for the entire match, but I did hear back that they won the match. So congratulations to them. I also heard that they also won the match yesterday against Tracy. So looks like they're off for a good start. So congratulations to our volleyball Mustangs girls. Yeah, that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Trustee Daniel. Trustee Clements,
Nothing to report, Madam President.
Trustee Boulay.
Thank you, President Olson. As mentioned earlier, on August 22nd, I attended the DLAC committee meeting. And then on the 23rd, along with Dr. Nicholas, Noel, and some of the other board members, I attended Wickland's 20th anniversary celebration. And I want to give it a shout out to Wickland School Foundation and the volunteers who put that together. It was really a fun event, and they opened a time capsule that was put together 10 years ago. So it was fun to see the things that were in that time capsule. They displayed those in the multipurpose room for a while. And they are putting together another time capsule. I don't know when that one will be open, but it'll be exciting to see another 10, 15, 20 years what is in there. Also, Wickland has bricks that were a fundraiser from the very, very beginning, even before Wickland opened. And those bricks have been in the display window of the multipurpose room for 20 years. And so Wickland School Foundation is actually going to put those to use, and they're going to build a little a little buddy area or seating area, or I don't know what they call it, but I'm kind of excited to see that after 20 years, these bricks are going to be put into function. And there are more bricks available if you want to donate a brick. So just put a shout out there. And then on the 27th, I attended the JV girls volleyball game. It was early in the season, and those girls did such a good job. They unfortunately lost 2-1, but gosh, they played their hearts out, and my heart was beating in my chest because some of the matches were really, really close. It was a fun afternoon. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Pombo.
Thank you, Madam President. On August 22nd, I attended a CSBA Zoom meeting for area delegates, where we discussed laws before the legislature affecting education, among other things. Then that evening, I went to back to school night at Mountain House High School, where I visited lots and lots of classrooms, met lots of teachers, and thoroughly enjoyed my time there. On the 23rd, I attended the football games at the high school, as well as the 20th birthday party for Wickland, and I will echo the comments of my fellow board members in thanking everyone that put that on. It was a very nice ceremony. On August 28th, I attended a CSBA meeting with San Joaquin County. We met with the county superintendent, and we are in the process of putting together reinvigorating the County School Boards Association, where we will have meetings a few times a year and discuss area issues. And then later that evening, I attended the Cordes PTA meeting. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. As for me, I participated in the CSBA call to legislative action and reached out to our legislators and governor, asking them to consider reducing the amount of reporting required on districts and local education agencies, because it consumes a lot of time that is taken away from what they really want to focus on, which is our students. And so I hope the legislators will listen. I think it's important that they stop burdening districts in this manner. On August 21st, I attended Mountain House High School Back to School Night. It was very well organized and I found it amusing to hear parents be like, how can I get there in 5 minutes? You know, they don't walk as fast as their kids, I think, because I've never heard my child complain about not being able to make it to class. But it was a wonderful event, and it was fun to go around and, you know, walk around and experience life as a high school student, sort of going class to class. On August 23rd, I briefly attended the Wickland School Foundation 20th birthday party. I wish them a very happy 20th birthday. What a historic and wonderful moment in our community. And then I quickly had to slip over to the high school, not to watch the football game simply in the stands. I was on the chain gang, and that was a very awesome experience watching our football team. And I'm very proud of our coaches and players and how they represent our school and our community and our district. And that concludes my report. Moving on to item 7, receiving of public comments. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. Government Code Section 54954.3. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public also may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. I have 2 public comment cards here for the same topic, and so I will call these up in the order that I received them. If there are any other members of the public here that are wanting to make a comment, I please ask you to fill out the blue speaker card and bring it up to Ms. Balzerini here so we know when to call upon you and which topic you're going to be addressing. So I will call Ms. Sureka Shakar up. And just while she's walking up, please note that on the dais, you will get a yellow light when your time has a minute left, and then the red light means your time is up.
Hello. Good evening, board. My name is Sureka Shekhar. I'm today representing the community as a resident and also as a LUSD parent. So recently, there has been a lot of concerns among the LUSD families regarding an accident which happened at Cuesta. So that has left a lot of scar on all the kids and the families, as we all know. So this has been a deep concern, and from what we all residents know, these kind of incidents have been happening over the past few years, and student safety has been under threat. So I would like to speak as part of the community and ask a few questions so that we all get suitable answers. So each time we are asking for student safety and crossing guards, and there has not been any resolution from what I know. So what is the plan for student safety at LUSD? So this is something on top of everybody's mind. There are only questions, but we haven't heard any answers. What work has been done in this regard so far from the school district? Is it possible for all the families to get an update on this regard? Now that we are a city, if in case that has been a deterrent so far, is there a way that the district and the city work together, collaborate, and make sure that student safety is on top of the priority so that students and parents can have a peaceful day every day? So we have also heard about the liability issues being one of the major concerns in funding this program from the district per se. But one thing on top of the mind is several other districts have already successfully implemented this program. From what I know, Alameda School District, El Grove have already done this, and even San Ramon District. So is there a way we can learn from how it has been done at other places? Also, the federal and the state grants are available for any funding constraints to be met. So appreciate that, if we can hear official response from the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Louisa Roberts.
should I just start? Okay. So I had all these things planned to tell you guys. I'm a parent at Cuesta, and I dropped off my kids, and a few minutes later, I received a text with a picture of the kid that had just had this accident. Immediately, I'm actually the first parent to post something in this chat and say, why do we not have crossing guards? I'm actually currently a student to get my credentials, and I'm hoping to be an elementary school teacher at one point. And in every single district that I have volunteered to do internships, they have crossing guards. We are a city, and you guys are our school board, and you must attend the city hall meeting to request the city to help the school get a crossing guards. It's not gonna happen if the school does not work, if the school district does not work with the city. You guys have to work together, and as our Unified School District School Board, I really pledge you to please come tomorrow and talk at the meeting as our representatives. I met with the principal yesterday, who is an amazing principal, and I have nothing but amazing things to say about him. But I've realized that we need to have an assembly in all of our schools. All of our schools need to teach our kids safety, just like they teach English and math. They need to teach children how to transport themselves from their homes to school, from school to their homes, okay? I literally go to Safeway almost every day in my bike, and half of the children that are traveling in their bikes have their helmets on the handlebars of their bicycle. So again, this is something that needs to be addressed, not just by the parents, but by the schools themselves. Schools are there to teach. This is something that the schools should be teaching. Now, Thursday, our school tried to do their best. I have 4 children of my own in the school, a first grader, a third grader, a fifth grader, and a seventh grader, and they all lived the same day completely different because their teachers were not equipped with training for disaster training. We trained for earthquakes, we trained for fire, we trained for lockdowns. What happened this Thursday was an accident, it was a disaster. And what happened, like, police start shoving children into the classroom. The principal did state, we need to clear the field because there's gonna be a helicopter landing. But again, that a lot of teachers thought it was kind of like a lockdown procedure, so they lost trail of the day. My first grader came out saying, today we had a I don't know what's happening day. That was literally, I'm quoting my child because that's what happened. And young children need routine, young children need to know what's gonna happen. The school forgot about the Pledge of Allegiance because they were in panic. I know that they sent lots of counselors and that today they had the bring the dogs for comfort for children, and I know that they're trying to help, but I think training on disaster training would have helped a lot of the teachers that were in panic that day.
Thank you for your comment. Ms. Sindhu Reddy.
Hello everyone. I'm Sindhu. I'm one of the board member of the Cuesta PTA, Cuesta Elementary School PTA board. So I would like to request, right, last time when we met the CSD last school year, so the one which we heard is the funding issues with the crossing guards. And today, after this new academic year started, we have seen already the incident. Incidents might not happen every day, but we are seeing so many things. And we also work for few of the traffic improvements, maintaining on the drop-off lanes from ourselves from the PTA. We have seen so much change there. So how about like crossing guards being in there? And we are at the same time, like when I'm volunteering directly, so we have recognized so many incidents happened. There are so many bruises when kids are biking or when kids are taking when they're going by walk. So it is something like we have to really see. And when we compare to the other Bay Area schools, like in the Santa Clara School District, I see that school districts work with the crossing guards, staffing with the yard duty. Whenever we have the enough staff in the LUSD, we can really make use of them so that it will be low budget and low funding instead of going with other funding options, right? I don't know why you guys are not thinking. Every time when we go to CSD, they say that LUSD, we have to ask this item, but nowhere, you are friends that's outside, but you have to even be friends in during the work culture so that you're having the good collaboration between LUSD and CSD. Today, the incident happened just because of the carelessness in the last year. So last year, every day we are seeing so many personal messages to the PTA, because whenever we put the agenda in our PTA meetings, we say that we are even related to the safety. So they are questioning us, what is the safety you are giving to the kids? I know there are some roads shared between the LUSD and CSD. There we need the crossing guards. It is like, it is always necessary. It's not that LUSD should pitch in, because you have the better options with the staff. You can use the staff in there and help them and see how they change for at least for 3 months or first phase. Then you can really observe the difference. Today we are not sending our kids to school by bikes or walk because we are afraid. At least they are safe in the cars with the small incidents happen, right? Not with the bikes or the cars. So that's what, like, you really think of the. And now we are almost in the Bay Area, it's East Bay, so we should work and compare with other schools and get the positive change here. So I would like to say that Bella strong for this moment, and just make that not happen in the future like these incidents. Please work together with CSD. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Bayan Kalalbek, and my apologies if I said your name incorrectly.
Yeah, I just want to include that accident happened to my son near Bethany School when he go to high school. He was biking, he's crossing Bethany School, and that happened last year, May 22nd. One white sedan hit him, and we didn't report to the police that time. Still, he has elbows issue. We took him to the emergency, and that's not only one time. The other time happened near Red Rose Montessori School. Yeah, so just want to be witness. Yeah, we have to be really, yeah, we have to be, yeah, bring a lot of attention for these issues. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I just got a card. Does it say Lucas Roberts? Okay, I just want to make sure I read that correctly.
I just want to say that this seems like this has been an ongoing issue. This has been happening at least once a year. A kid at some school's been hit by a car, right? Pretty easy to say. Not really going out on a limb saying that. We're all going to be at City Hall tomorrow, because the answer from LUSD and City Hall has been, it's someone else's problem. So I hope tonight, or at least tomorrow night, one of you groups takes it on and makes it your problem. Because the next time a kid is hit by a car, which if you all do nothing is inevitable, we'll all be back here again and saying, now it is very much your fault. Thank you.
Thank you. Louisiana Femme.
Good evening, everyone. I rushed here from Santa Clara. I drove over an hour and a half to be here with you because this is an issue that I'm sure you've heard of for the last 20 years if you guys have been here. Many of you have been here for a very long time. I addressed this issue with the CSD before we became a city. I don't have children, but I have there's about 50 kids that live in my neighborhood. And before those elections for cityhood, I came to the school and I saw what kind of traffic congestion there is during the drop-off and pickup times because of how the lanes were created and how the signals were. And there is a need for somebody to be there to kind of liaison the safe passage because of the way the drop-off lanes are created. So I reached out to the board, and they were going into cityhood, so there was nothing they could do. But I believe that over the last 2 months, Steve Pinkerton and the mayor and everybody on the city council have been working together and trying to reach out to this body, because you guys are two different businesses basically, to work hand in hand with you to get some sort of funding for a hired on kind of crossing guard program. Well, when I presented it over there, we presented it in 4 parts. And by we, I mean, I joined the PTA even though I don't have children, because it was important to me that children were not getting run over. Or there was a lot of times when I was standing in front there, I saw like really close encounters where children on bicycles were almost getting hit, and then people were just stopping everywhere to drop off their kids. And so they've been working together to find a solution, and we presented it. All of the PTAs in Lambertsville School District have worked together to kind of think of, okay, how do we do training, and then how do we do education? Because you can put the crossing guards out there, but if you don't go to the assemblies to all these children and tell them how to cross the street, then they won't still know how to use the crossing guards. So we really do need your help and cooperation in this as 2 governing bodies to work together to educate both the driver and the student crossing. And then to allow us to come and volunteer our time to block the roads for the kids to cross, because up until now, it's always been a liability. And we're here to do it, and with your support, we can do it, and we need training to do that. And then to permanently hire someone.
Comment.
Thank you, and I hope that you all can come tomorrow.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Modi.
Good evening. Apologize for my attire. I came from football practice. Really great ideas today, right? From residents talking about helmet education in schools. I think there's a lot of good ideas that are out there. I heard a comment that the staff didn't know what was going on. I heard a lot of the opposite, to be honest, from a lot of parents that were there that day, and talked about and praised the staff and how they reacted to it. So there's always probably every opportunity to look back and find opportunities that we can do better, right? There's always opportunities for training, but I do think that the overwhelming response from the staff or about the staff seemed to be positive. I am the guy who was out at Hanson the last few days acting as a crossing guard myself. And this is an idea that I had since March of 2023. And I said there's enough parents and we should be able to put something together even if the district or the city is not going to do anything. And from my experience, over the last 3 days, since last Friday, I tried to get a lot of volunteers to help and pick up, slots. There's 6 intersections around Hanson that could be leveraged, or could be, kids could be funneled into. Those would be the 6 intersections closest to Hanson. And do you know how many volunteers I got to stand out there on one of those corners? 2. Okay. So I don't personally have a lot of hope in what the city is trying to do in terms of a volunteer program. It is very hard to get, everyone will post on Facebook and everyone may spend 3 minutes here, but very hard to get people to actually show up and commit to doing something. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to set an example because I've been trying to do it since a year ago. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go do it at one intersection. God help me, okay? I do think that the school district, I have heard liability come up a lot of times in the past. It would be really helpful to have an analysis of what that liability looks like. What does liability insurance look like? What is that actual cost to the taxpayers? Put that out there. Have the analysis public if it's been done. If it hasn't been done, let's do an analysis. I think that's worth it. The last thing I'll say is, today was my last day to just be a crossing guard out there on my own. I was approached by the sheriff's deputy this morning, and I was told that there were complaints from the city, the school board, or school district at least, and parents. So I'm not exactly sure what's accurate, but I want to just publicly say everyone knows me most on this board, at the district. I'm not a stranger. If the district did contact law enforcement without coming to me first, I think that's not the best approach. I think someone could have just called me, had a conversation, shot me an email. None of those things were done. No parent who supposedly complained reached out to me. So 0 people have personally reached out to me to say, hey, we don't think this is a good idea, or it's not for your safety. One person did, right, from the city, but no one from anywhere else. So with that, I'll
Thank you for
end
your
my
comments.
comments. Thank you.
I do not have any more public comment cards. Before we move on, I just want to make sure there's nobody else. And I just want to point out that the Brown Act does not allow board members to respond to public comments that are not agendized. And so I want to make it clear the board does care, even, and it, you know, that they cannot comment is not an indication that they do not care. I have a student at Cuesta myself, and I would just like to say that LUSD takes student safety very seriously, and we have a very robust safety committee that is public. You are welcome to attend, where we do cover all the things that were mentioned, and you can learn about how we take safety seriously if you attend the next safety meeting, which I believe is on September 11th at 3:45 p.m. And I just want to also say that we support the Mountain House City in doing their job of keeping the roads safe, which is their purview, and we do a great job of keeping students safe once they get to campus. Moving on to item 8, consent items for consideration. Actions proposed for consent are consistent with the approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. Trustees receive board agenda background information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge on the consent items. Item A, governing board meeting minutes, regular meeting of August 21st, 2024, 7 p.m. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of certificated and classified personnel actions. Item D, ratification of 2024-2025 inter and intra-district transfer requests. Item E, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petition, one student, 24-2501. Item F, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. And item G, updated 2024-2025 fundraisers. Does any member of the board wish to poll or further discuss any consent items?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Madam Clerk, will you please do the honors?
Thank you. I would like to welcome the following new employees to Lammersville Unified School District. Monique Straighton Brown, School Secretary 1, Sangeetha Charturvedi, Mathematics Teacher, Sarah Clark, Special Education Teacher, Melanie Frazier, Special Education Instructional Aide, Isabella Garcia, Campus Supervisor, Rekar Shrianjani, Vimla Geetham Rutham, Special Education Teacher, Mackenzie Hartvigson, ELAP Instructional Aide, Nithya Laganatham, ELAP Instructional Aide, Raquel Lopez, Special Education Instructional Aide, Jennifer Mara, Special Education Teacher, Erin Moore, English Teacher, Sujatha Paki, Bilingual Instructional Aide, Swapna Pujarla, ELAP Instructional Aide, Dominic Robinson, Campus Supervisor, Anbumalar Senathapathi, Noon Duty Supervisor, Jasmine Singh, Special Education Teacher, Heather Tambasco, Special Education Teacher, and Veronica Vega, Special Education Instructional Aide. I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but I would like to welcome all of those above to the Lammersville family.
Moving on to item 9, District Administrative Reports. Item A, Superintendent's Report.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of do a brief overview of a couple of items that we're dealing with. In particular, it goes with what President Olson was speaking to earlier and what Trustee Pombo has taken on in terms of his additional role with the California School Boards Association, which is the activity from the legislature in the state and mandates coming down from Sacramento to school districts. So in the broad scale of things, public school systems we're always in charge of educating students, providing a service for about 7-hour day. And in that period, kids got recess and fed lunch and the like. But over the last decade and a half, there's really been an expansion of the expectation for public school systems. And so it causes school districts to have to kind of project, to actually project future responsibilities and how we're going to address those in terms of mandates from the state. So we take care of the educational needs of the students in the communities. We've been asked over the last, like I said, the last decade and a half, we've taken over really a significant part of social services in terms of providing services to students in need and families in need. We've been asked to take on a greater role in nutrition services, and we now provide food on a greater scale than ever before. And we've been asked to take on a greater role in terms of mental health services. And I bring this up because with each one of these grand scale expectations comes the need to develop a department, have a leader of that department, have staff that support that department, and those expand as the Sacramento expectations expand. So some things that we're working on, and all of these things are either in progress or have just started in the recent last couple of years. Before I go into that, the one thing I left out is typically when the state sends a mandate, they usually give about 80 cents on the dollar, and that's being generous. So anyone with any special education background knows that the special education law and the expectations and responsibilities with that are not fully funded by the state, and that every school district in the state of California absorb the financial costs of what one way to think of it as a contribution, which Alvina Kaiser makes me say, but it's also it reaches into the general fund to fulfill our role of helping special ed students, but it's mandates and laws by the state that make it more expensive. So using that as a theme, we have a number of different things that have come down the pike of recently. We are been mandated to provide fentanyl education, which we are working on in the curriculum department. We have been mandated to create a curriculum for a one-semester class related to ethnic studies. We are currently looking into two phases of artificial intelligence, a policy side about the proper uses, proper professional development, and that. And we're also researching what are the best things we can do with it to provide support for career pathways, other educational classes, so we can take advantage of it while having a policy that protects our students in our district from those things. A recent letter as of last week, the governor, and it sounds like there's legislations moving very quickly about cell phone uses and a policy to address limitations of students' use of cell phones during the school year. We also had a mandate, I think about a month ago, that we have to also create a curriculum for teaching kids about their personal finances. Those are all very recent developments that Sacramento, which sets the standard for funding, sets the standard for curriculum, sets what we can use for curriculum, and monitors us through the local accountability plan. It's picking up pace. So when President Olson says that there are too many reports that school districts are doing, it's true. With all the COVID funds, each one came with a separate plan. Some of those were one page, some of those were multiple pages. And when the local control accountability plan came out, it was a relatively small expectation. And now it's a document well over 100 pages. So I get sending money to school districts and asking us to explain thoughtfully and professionally what we're doing with it. That's absolutely fair. But it's, I was going to say report Mageddon, but that doesn't really ring true, but it's just too many reports. So while giving us expectations, they're taking away time of the staff who were supposed to execute those expectations. So I know that Mr. Pombo in his role with CSBA is helping advocate and lobby for that organization to get the state to realize they need to slow down their role with all of these plans and expectations and new legislation, that we can't do all things at all times for all issues, or we will dilute ourselves into the point of being mediocre. That's not what we strive to do. Other mandates that we've worked on and successfully put into play. During COVID, we were asked to feed and provide food for all students before and during school. Through Director Hill and her excellent team, we've been able to do that. One of the benefits of that particular model is it's paying for the upgrade to the Lambersville kitchen, because if you feed everybody, it does raise revenues. But that's a mandate that's relatively new. We've been asked to provide a full day schedule for particular groups of kids and potentially all kids, though the funding only covers a particular group of kids, which means that before school care, after-school care with a sprinkling of education and recreation with food and other supports. So what does that mean? We're providing opportunities for kids to be at school from about 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock at night. So all of these things that I'm covering are just new expectations from the state that are coming to every school district in the state of California. Some of them come with specific plans and expectations, and some of them they're making up the rules as they go. ELOP, which is the before and after school program, they made it up as they went. And they continue to change it. So in terms of the broad scale of the district, we will step up to the challenge. We will make sure that all these things are done well, professionally put together and rolled out and executed. But it will also require an expansion of departments, expansion of staff, maybe potentially even the creation of new departments as this rolls forward. So, Madam President, I just wanted to explain that, as there's a flurry of activity right now going on in Sacramento that matches last year's flurry of activity and previous year's flurries of activities. And that's my report.
Madam President, I've got a comment for the superintendent. You explained that very well. Thank you. The comment is that what people don't understand is that school funding, our funding, is a very finite number. And every time the state, or anybody else for that matter, gives an unfunded mandate for the district or an underfunded mandate for the district, we've got to take money away from something else, whether it's books, whether it's extracurriculars, whatever it may be. We've got to cut from that to fund these unfunded or underfunded mandates. And people don't realize the job that our finance team and our superintendent do to juggle all those balls and still fulfill the requirements meted down by the state and still pay all our bills and have books and other things for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we move on?
Just a recollection. At the last CSBA conference, the state superintendent of schools spoke, and he got a thundering applause when he said no unfunded mandates. Because the entire 10 years that I've been on the board, the state has said, oh, schools need to do this. We're not going to increase your money, but you got to do it. You need to do that. We're not going to increase your money, but you have to do that. Or you need to do this other thing. And of course, it comes out of education. Everything we do comes out of education if we do an additional thing. And I was so excited when he said no unfunded mandates. We understand, like being an ex-school board member, we understand that that doesn't work. You can't, for 50 years into the future, you can't keep saying, do this, provide psychological, emotional care, right? You need staff to do that, so you have to hire staff, but you're not getting any money for that. And I'm not disagreeing with the need for emotional care for students. I'm not disagreeing with anything that they've said we need to do. I just, there's only so much money. So I was very disappointed to hear you say that we've had a bunch of unfunded mandates recently because the promise was that they weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, the only people listening to the state superintendent of education were school board members. No one in Sacramento heard his plea.
And just to add a little bit onto that, I believe the local control funding formula came about around 2014, 15, 16, somewhere in that.
Yeah, 2012.
2012. So before that, the state kind of controlled the funding more stringently, and then LCFF came out, local control funding formula, and it was sold as giving local education agencies control over how they spend their money. However, what I've noticed since 2012 is that the control has gone from here to do we still have control? Because the state has mandated how that money that was supposed to be under local control is spent. And so that is, you know, compounding the problem with everything else that the state is asking districts to do. And so we appreciate all the work that our district staff does to run the district, given all of these extraneous things placed upon them. Moving on to item B, quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints, April 2024 through July 2024.
There are no reports.
Thank you. Item C, district maintenance and operations report. Director Dixon.
Good evening. Okay, so temperatures are back in triple digits again this week. We've increased the watering 6 days a week to all the sites except for Evelyn Costa. We're watering 7 days a week there. Also, with the return of high temperatures, we have a lot of HVAC calls from all the sites. We're working and dealing with those as quickly as we can. The pool is being difficult again. It's probably the heat, but the chemical balance is slightly off. It was addressed today. The sand filters are not draining properly, causing the main controller to go into alarm, but we're working on that as well. Speaking of unfunded mandates, the trash food waste recycling program is up and running at all the sites. So FIT reports, they are done. There were no big issues found. All schools meet the expectations with either good or exemplary status. Staffing update, we currently have no grounds or maintenance openings. We have one opening custodial at Altamont. Civic permits, there's a lot of demand for civic permits and facility usage right now. The session of civic permits just opened a few weeks ago and we're already over 200 permits and that number is expected to rise. So a lot of facility usage going on. So.
Thank you. Moving on to item 10, action items. Item A, consider approval to hire employees on the basis of a provisional internship permit. Staff report.
Yes, this PIP allows us to open this classroom to this multiple subject credentialed person.
Move to approve hire of employees on the basis of provisional internship permits.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item B, consider approval to adjourn from regular session to open public hearing on the sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials.
Yeah, this is a state regulation. It requires us to say that formally through this resolution that we have a sufficient amount of textbooks in the classroom, which I can say we do. So items B, C, and D are that full process.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. We are now in public hearing. Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak to this matter, I will entertain a motion to reconvene to regular session.
Move to reconvene to regular session.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. We are now back in regular session and going on to item D. Consider approval of governing board resolution number 24-25-06 regarding the sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials. And this is related to the hearing, so I'll take them.
Move to approve governing board resolution 2425-06 regarding the sufficiency of textbooks or instructional materials.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion, oh wait, it's a resolution, roll call, sorry.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Venita Daniel.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries with 5 ayes and no noes. Item E, consider approval of governing board resolution number 24-25-07 regarding annual certification of independent study for the 2024-2025 school year. Staff report.
Yes, this is another state regulation that we formally say that we're following the rules for independent study, which we are.
Move to approve governing board resolution 24-25-07 regarding annual certification of independent study for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Roll call.
Stephanie Olson.
Aye.
Lisa Boulay.
Aye.
Benita Daniel.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
The resolution passes with 5 ayes and no nos. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will be discussing the following. Item A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. Item B, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8. I forgot to read the calendar. Next Wednesday, September 11th, 2024 at 3:45 p.m. is our Safety Committee meeting. Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 will be the next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. And Thursday, September 19th, 2024 is the Facilities Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. I will now take a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
On a motion by Trustee Pombo and seconded by Trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to adjourn to closed session passes with 5 ayes and no nos, and we are adjourned at 7:55 p.m.